Hello friends and family. Today we'll be transporting some individuals to Aspen for a ski trip. We're currently sitting at Rocky Mountain Metro here in Denver and they've already loaded up and filled up. Weather is currently IFR here at Denver and it's a VFR at Aspen currently. Shouldn't have any problems getting into KASE today, but there is a pretty hefty tailwind that we may have to contend with once we get there. So that does have the potential to cause some problems. With the weather the way it is, let's not waste any time and get on into the cockpit so we can get out of here. Today we're flying the TBM850 from Black Square. It's a fantastic aircraft. I got quite a few hours in it already, and the more I fly it, the more I love it. Okay, let's go ahead and begin with our pre-flight checklist. Currently on the GPU with a voltage of 27.5 volts. Exterior lights test push button. Pushed 3 green. Taxi and landing lights, check 3 green off. 3 green. Nav and strobes on. Confirm operation. On. Okay. Oxygen check. On. Quantity. Plenty. And then back off. Annunciator panel, test 1. Test 2. Bright and dim. Oh, that's functional. Pitot heat and stall heater both on, check warnings. Those working correctly. Landing gear is down and we've got 3 green. Flaps are set to 0 and source selector can go back to off. This is where we do our exterior inspection, so let's hop back outside the airplane real quick. Do a quick little inspection. Got a little ice building up as we're sitting on the ground here. Otherwise, all the doors are closed except for the one we're about to get back into. No damage appears to be on the aircraft, and everything looks good and healthy. So let's hop back into the cockpit here and continue on through our checklist. Okay, before engine start, ATC clearance as required, pushback as desired. We are currently on VATSIM like I mentioned, but we don't have any controllers in the area, so we're just going to be on Unicom today. So now we can do crash bar up, source selector to assist off, and radio master to on for our ground clearance. This should result in the comm radio being available. There we go. So comm radio, we're going to be on 1228 or Unicom, so we can start monitoring that. Pre-flight inspection is complete. Doors, baggage, and engine compartment are closed and locked. Parking brake is set. Landing gear is down. Battery or GPU. Let's go over to the GPU since it is so cold right now. Generator main. Nav lights as desired and on, so we'll leave those on. We can go ahead and get our oxygen turned on, and let's go ahead and close our door here. Oxygen mask, press, listen. Operational. Operational. Let's turn those on so we don't waste all the oxygen. Horn test. Operational. ITT test button. Dial moves all the way up, and we've got the display showing 1888. Interior lights as desired. Go ahead and turn these up a little bit for you guys. a little easier for you to see. Fuel tank selector, left or right. It's currently on the left and in manual, and flaps are up. Let's go ahead and pull in our flight plan. We did make a sim brief, so we can actually just import that straight from there. Okay, so going to be leaving Rocky Mountain Metro. This says that we're going to be going straight to Denver over top of the airport there at an altitude of 5,600 feet. That seems awful low. We take a look at our charts. We can go ahead and pull those up real fast, but I believe we're going to be on the Rocky 5 departure, runway 3, and then our approach into KASE. We are going to use the RNAV 15 Zulu, which is not something that we were likely approved for, but we're going to go ahead and load it in there just for the safety factor, since we have it. Unfortunately, we don't have a chart for that. Go ahead and check our map again. And what I'm thinking we're going to do here, I would imagine they're going to want us to avoid Denver, so we're going to depart runway 3, and then we'll do a left climbing turn direct to Connor. This thing will climb well above the mountains just fine. Head on over to KASE. Got the DBL transition, and we'll need to be there at 14,000 feet. That is not correct. I wonder if we can change that. Let's see here. Go to our flight plan at DBL. I don't think we're going to be able to change that. So we're going to ignore that altitude restriction. I'm not sure why it's showing 5,600 feet. We're going to keep it at 14,000 for safety, because we will crash into the mountains otherwise. And of course, we're going into KASE here. And we will be landing on, was it runway 15, I believe? Yes, runway 15. Oh, that looks good. Like I said, we're going to depart runway 3, left turn, and direct to Connor. Cruise altitude today is 25,000 feet, so we're just going to go straight to that. All right, engine start. We can go source selector to battery. Make sure we've got 24.5 volts, which we do. Engine starter is off. Engine ignition is in auto. Auto. Inertial separator is off. It is currently off. Go ahead and turn our windshield heat off. We had that on just a de-ice a minute ago. Manual override lever is confirmed off. Power lever is at idle. Propellers, max RPM, and condition levers cut off. So, moving on to on battery power startup. Fuel aux booster pump on. Strobe lights on. Trailer area is clear. We're clear. See, we're already picking up ice again. Ignition switch to auto. And starter to on. All right, we're going to be looking for an NG of 15%. Actually, 13% in this aircraft. Once we get there, we can go ahead and go to ground idle on the condition lever, 13%. Now let's monitor the ITT. You can hear that fuel getting spit into the engine. Make sure we don't have a hot start, which is anything over 1,000 degrees. We got 894 today. So we got a good start there. With that stabilized, looking for an NG of about 53% or so. We got to a little over 50 today, so let's go ahead and go high idle. And no hung start. After engine start, annunciator panel considered, pitot heats. Let's go ahead and get those on since we are picking up some ice here. Starter switch can go to off. Ignition can stay in auto, sources in main. Gyros, go ahead and get all those turned on. And let's go ahead and start de-icing our aircraft here. Moving on down the list here. Strobe light can go off. EFIS master to on. Altimeter set to local. Our current altimeter is... Let's check the weather here. In the Garmin, we have an altimeter of 2988. Autopilot altitude pre-selector. We're going to 25,000 feet. Trims master switch. Oops, wrong one. On. Avionics master switch on. We already had that turned on there. For our clearance. Engine bleed to auto. Air conditioning as desired. Let's go fans only. Fan flow to auto. Temperature should be good. And let's go ahead and set our altitude. So for our cabin pressure, we're looking for 26,000 feet to give us a little bit of wiggle room. Fuel selector can go to auto, and booster ramps can go to auto. Weather radar into standby. Com and nav radios. We are on Unicom on 1228. And nav radios. Garmin's as desired, transponder set and standby. So we're just going to put in an arbitrary 2000 here. And standby. Let's go ahead and go into altitude reporting mode while we're sitting here, just in case ATC does decide to come on. EFIS composite push, confirm, and push. Looks good. ADI and HSI brightness are set. Standby instruments are checked. And we'll go ahead and we'll just push B to set the local altimeter on this one over here, make it a little easier for us. TALS annunciator test push button. Test.
Sync rate. Sync rate. Don't sync. Don't sync. 500. TALS system test. Okay.
Okay, good there. DI system light. We're not going to be in the darkness, but normally you would flick the ice switch here. Inertial separator can come on. Defog, de-ice, power 80% NG. Okay, all the de-ice has been confirmed. Flight controls free and correct. Good to go there. Trims. Let's get our rotor trim set to takeoff. And I like the trim up just to here on the elevator here. ATC clearance, taxi lights. And we are at Rocky Mountain here, so we'll call up the traffic there. Rocky Mountain Metro, November 9060 Delta Hotel, ready to taxi runway 3. Rocky Mountain. Taxi lights can come on. And test brakes and steering, check flight instruments and engine instruments. Go ahead and clear out our cautions here. And we are taking off runway 3, which is off to our right. So we're going to taxi. Do a little bit of a U-turn here and taxi on Bravo. Crossing runways 12 left and 12 right. Go ahead and reset our views here. So push brake pedals in, park and brake off. Get slightly out of beta range. Get some roll. Brakes checked. Let's start taxiing. Pull it back some, back into that beta mode. This thing likes to get rolling really quick. ahead and do our takeoff flaps. Okay. Ignition lever confirmed high idle. It's confirmed. Propeller feather to max RPM twice. Full. Feather. Back to full. Okay, that first test didn't do much, so let's go back to feather. And back to full. Okay. That looks good. Flaps are set to takeoff. Torpedo and stall heater are both on. De-ice is required. We've got everything turned on. Inertial separator as desired. We need it because icing. Avionics are set. We're going to be climbing out, let's call it 1,500 feet per minute. Arm that. What about pre-selections as desired? Annunciator, consider inertial separator and beta mode are the only things which are expected. Flight instruments are checked. Battery charge confirm at less than 50 amps. Yep. ATC clearance. Landing lights, strobe lights, and transponder. Okay, like I said, we're going to be doing a left turn out of here. Let's go ahead and call up the local traffic. Rocky Mountain traffic, November 960 Delta Hotel Type TBM, departing runway 3, runway heading a left turn to join the Rocky 5 departure. Rocky Mountain. Okay. Let's get scooting here. Yeah, our boots are working now. See them. Clear left, clear right. Let's start. Let's bring in that power. Another taxi sign right in the middle of the runway. Look at that. Six knots. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Start trimming the aircraft out. Rocky Mountain Metro, November 9060 Delta Hotel, clear runway 3, Rocky Mountain. Alright, let's go ahead and nose over a little bit here. Speed up to about 105 knots, and we'll do a flaps up. Flaps up. Go autopilot engage since we are going into IMC here. Let's decrease our rate of climb. We're looking for a climb out speed of about 130. So let's go to 1300 feet per minute, and then we'll go into IAS mode. Go ahead and do our left turn, and we'll stay just west of those mountains there. Okay, let's go to IAS mode at 130 knots. And what we can do here is I'm going to pull the power lever back just a touch to make sure our torque gets back to 100%. And then we're going to go into 850 mode. And then we can start putting power back into it. Looking for about 120 on the NG. I'm sorry, the torque. Hear this thing roar. Still can't see anything. Wings are staying clear though, which is great. Let's go and get our weather radar to on. – 10,000 feet, landing lights can come off. Beautiful. Alright, let's go direct Connor here. We should be well above the mountains by the time we get to it. So direct hard key. Let's do flight plan, Connor. Activate. And go into nav mode. CDI GPS. Should be doing our left turn. There we go. Oh, it is following our nav track. We just got this much of a wind that we're having to crab like crazy. That's insane. Look at that. 72 knots. And to keep us in a straight line, we are facing 253 on a track of 239er. That's pretty impressive. Terrain's cleared up. So we're safely above the mountains now, which is fantastic. Coming up on 18,000 feet. And we'll go over standard. Our torque has decreased a little bit with our increase in altitude, so let's go ahead and add a little bit more power. And we'll need to monitor the ITT here, make sure we stay out of the red. Once we get out of these clouds, we can get the inertial separator turned off, and that should help our temperatures quite a bit.
Then the traffic delta 20
Alright, so when you turn the inertial separator off, you will gain some airflow, which will increase the torque. So let's bring the torque back to 105. Turn the inertial separator off, and as those baffles retract, you'll see the torque raises back up. Once that stabilizes, we will return our torque to about 120. Go ahead and get the airframe de-ice off, prop de-ice, and windshield heats can go off. And it looks like going into 105 did us pretty well. Got us right up there at about 119, so inched up just a touch. As we're approaching cruise, what we can go ahead and do is go to our utilities page, and I believe this is a premium function of the PMS50 Garmin GTN 750. But we're looking for a target altitude of 14,000 feet for our VNAV. Vertical speed profile of 2,000 feet per minute. Target waypoint is going to be DBL. So it's saying begin descent in 29 minutes, which this is going to very quickly decrease as we continue climbing. And we'll have our vertical speed required here, which we also have set up to show at the top right here, so that'd be a good indication. Looks like we'll be pretty close to DBL by the time we get there. This thing will descend pretty rapidly. So once we get the cruise, we'll set the camera off the nose here and let you guys enjoy the view. We're almost there, 23,425. We should hear the 1,000-foot alarm indicate momentarily here. Alright, there's our 1,000-foot alarm. Looking for 25,000 feet. Look at these headwinds. 111 knot quartering headwind. That's insane right now. It's really killing our ground speed right now. We got 136 knots indicated. So this is typically a very quick flight, but it's taking a bit longer today. Alright, we are leveling off at 25,000 feet, and I will see you guys soon. Alrighty, we are back. So, something I forgot to do Well, I was talking was get our yaw dampener on. Definitely helps with the autopilot. Not a huge deal, but something to remember. Looks like we are approaching our target descent, and the vertical speed required is coming up to negative 2,000 feet, which is what we're looking for. Stunning visuals outside. I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of music and the mountains of Colorado. Our ground speed increased significantly once we got up in the air and got the cruise here. 236 ground speed, not too terrible. And we are backed off just a hair from 121.5, which is our red line on our torque. Nothing on the weather radar right now. I am seeing some clouds ahead, so we will need to have our pressurization, I'm sorry, not pressurization, de-icing set, and then we'll also have to get our pressurization set to our landing elevation. Didn't hear anything on the traffic while we were cruising there, so I don't think there's too many people around us right now. Hopefully we don't run into anybody on our descent into Aspen. It's definitely looking a lot more ski weather-ish out in the mountains here. Alright, coming up on our top of descent here, so we are looking at 14,000 feet for DPL. We can go ahead and go into vertical speed mode here and start slowly descending. And we want to pull a little bit of power out to get our torque back to 100%. And go out of A50 mode. That way we don't over torque it on accident and exceed something. Starting a little early here, just so that we don't let this run away from us. And it's currently saying about 1,900 feet per minute. We do have some visible precipitation up in front of us and clouds, so let's go ahead and get our de-ice and windshield heaters on, along with our inertial separator. Now we'll see an increase in ITT and decrease in torque when that inertial separator does open up, so we may be able to give it a little bit more power just to keep our performance up. Saying 2,000 feet per minute now, so let's go ahead and get that down to 2,000 feet. Master caution is for the inertial separator. Its baffles have moved into position, so we're good to go there, and our ITT is perfectly fine where it's at. Pretty much have the aircraft firewalled at this point, and the torque limiter is going to take care of us. One thing we will have to watch out for is, of course, not exceeding 250 knots below 10,000 feet. Right now we're just trying to get as much speed as we can, get these guys on the slopes. Oh, I thought I hit the standard button earlier for the altimeter. Whoops. Guess I did not. So let's go ahead and grab our local altimeter at KASE. And it is 2976. Luckily we weren't too far off. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. We will slow up at DBL because we're going to be doing some turning, and then of course the descent into KASE is a 6.3 degree approach, I believe. It's a bit steeper than what we're used to at a 3 degree approach. .49 degrees. Visibility's not the best, but it's not bad either. It's claiming we need to be at 21. We'll leave it at 2,000 because we've got a little bit of extra space past DBL to adjust for that. So I was just trying to get us down just a touch early. We want to be ahead of the airplane this entire time going into KASE because it is quite a different place to land. Elevation of the airport is 7,838 feet, so we can Go ahead and increase our pressure a little bit here just to get us evened out with the ground. And you can see the cabin pressure increasing just a touch. Make it a lot easier to dump the air pressure without harming anything and be able to open the doors. Going to be uncomfortably close to some of the terrain around here, and I imagine we'll start seeing it popping up on our terrain radar terrain radar here shortly. It's getting a bit bumpy here. Our vertical speed required, we'll pretty much ignore that now since we're so close to DBO, and we'll be at 14,000 before Sitwo. Alright, there's a 1,000-foot alarm. Doing our right turn at DBO onto Sitwo. Go ahead and pull some power back. Keep it around 220. And get the track wire back on. Look around freely. Airport is pretty much behind us right now. These are some beautiful skiing conditions out here for sure. Nice and sunny. A little bit of cloud, but not too bad. Aspen traffic, November 960 Delta Hotel on left base for runway 15 Aspen. Gonna call up the local traffic, see if there's anybody here. That way we can go into a hold or divert just a touch. There's our airport right there. Go ahead and slow it to 180. We'll want to be in landing configuration on our way down just to help with the speed. It's not such a big deal in the TBM. Something like the CRJ or an A319 or something like that. It's a bit bigger of a deal. Full power just a touch more. No need for the weather radar for the rest of this flight. We'll go ahead and turn it off. And let's descend down to 13,000 feet. Look for 160 knots. It's going down to 12,000 feet. That alarm was just for our landing gear since we were close to idle thrust. And let's move this down to 10.8. And we'll descend probably about 1,500. Try to keep slowing us down here for this 6 degrees. We'll go ahead and get the gear down. Help slow us up some more. And once we reach 120, we can go ahead and drop our landing flaps. Move this to 86. Just trying to keep that arc approximately where those waypoints are. Might need to adjust our descent speed a bit here. It's kind of bumpy, so it's kind of hard to tell. Alright, there's 120 knots. Let's go ahead and go landing flaps. Props all the way in, condition levers all the way in. Need a bit of power here to keep that around 100 knots. You see this thing really fighting. We actually need to arrest our descent here. Stay at 10.8. Our next waypoint. Aspen traffic, November 960 Delta Hotel, on final for runway 15, Aspen. Alright, let's go autopilot off. We'll go into manual. Fuel dampener off. Three green on landing gear. Landing flaps are in. Still fighting that crosswind big time, so let's keep pointing that nose to the right, into the wind. Try to get us realigned up with the runway. Aspen traffic, November 960 Delta Hotel, on final, runway 15. Aspen. I did forget to turn off Microsoft Flight Simulator online multiplayer traffic, so hopefully there's nobody down here. Shown us above the glide path, which is expected for this airport. Should be coming into range here shortly, though. we go. Got 3 green, 1 red. Winds are calming down a little bit. Quite a bit of a tailwind, so our ground speed's going to be a lot higher. There's 2 green, 2 red. Don't know what's going on with the HSI there. It's going nuts. Minimums continue. Little floaty. All right, reversers. And out of reversers. Welcome to Aspen. We are parking at the lodge, so this worked out perfectly for us. Go ahead and bring our flaps back up. Aspen traffic, November 960, Delta Hotel, clear runway 15. Aspen. And we'll take this parking spot right here. Get them some executive parking. Alright, parking brake can come on. Heater heat off, windshield heat off, prop de-ice off, airframe de-ice off. HSI can come off. Fan flow, air conditioning off, and bleed off. Ground idle. Looking for an ITT stabilized. I definitely forgot my landing lights. Look at that. Getting things left and right over here. Nav strobe. Gyros can come off. Rear master. Autopilot. ITT is stabilized. Let's go prop feather. 15 seconds. And then we can shut her off. Alright. Condition lever fuel cutoff. Push prompt off. Manual. Mission off. Generator off. And let's go to ground power once our prop stops. And that's pretty much it. Let's get everybody out of the airplane. Alrighty, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. It's one of my... I guess it's not my first, but I haven't done too many of these videos. And if you guys like this, let me know in the comments. Screwed up a few things there, but no big deal. We got in here safely, then that's what matters. So, catch you guys next time on the next flight. And with that, guys, happy flying.